Good Saturday morning,
Hey.
afternoon, evening, wherever you are. I am, as usual and always, Eddie Huff, with different names at different times, depending on what venue I'm working in. My partner and always present partner, I guess, sidekick, a co-host, David Van.
Hey,
How are you, David?
We're it's great Saturday.
Yeah, we're slowly approaching the end of the year already. Can you believe another year gone? You know, I don't have that many years left.
Really?
Well, yeah, I mean,
You told me you're going to live to be 100.
that's not that many years ago.
Okay.
When you look back on the ones that have already
it's true.
expired and been used. So, no, I don't know if 100 is really in my what would you say it?
Gene pool?
No. My mom, no, she made it to 96, but no, I just don't know if it's in my psyche, I guess, or my mental makeup. I don't know if I want to be 100.
Well, that's just it. I mean,
I'm starting to have issues now at 70 something that I don't want to carry on to another 20 years,
one of the Psalms that actually wasn't written by David, it was written by Moses, transposed over later.
Which Psalm is that? Well, recite the scripture, somebody.
Maybe 90. With long life will I satisfy him and show him my salvation. This is a prophetic word from God.
Right.
Moses talked about, you might live 70 or strong, maybe 80.
Right.
Another place, it was prophesied that man won't live more than 120. But I like to look at the scripture about God wanting to please us with long life until we're satisfied.
Oh, okay. Okay, so he leaves the option out for us to be satisfied.
I think so.
All right, Lord. I can see that, I'm ready. I've had enough. I tell you what does it for me. You and I, fortunately, I think me more so than you, come out of an era. I've seen so many changes. I was born in poverty in post-World War Germany.
Yeah.
I saw the stadium. I used to play on the stadium that Hitler would have his things at before they transformed it. In fact, you've probably seen the videos where there's the big Nazi emblem at the top of the stadium and they blow it up.
Yeah.
That's the one.
That's the one Jesse Owens embarrassed Hitler at.
No,
right?
that was in Berlin.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. This one was in Nuremberg.
Nuremberg. Okay.
Yeah, Nuremberg, where they had the trials and everything. But anyway, so I went from there. I got to see live the first man into space, actually, Alan Shepard. I was there in fourth grade. I'll never forget the morning. My mom let me go to school a little late so I could watch the launch.
Wow.
So I got to see the launch of that and different things. America was still segregated back then. I went through the radical era of the 60s, late 60s, the Vietnam thing in 70s. So I've seen from where we were to now. And, it's funny because as bad as people try to make us think that it was back then, it wasn't that bad. It was actually pretty nice life, for kids and young people in particular, and even older people, Black people, Hispanic people, whatever you were. We had our boundaries and our rules that we lived by. And as long as you stayed within that framework, it was fine. Now, we always ran into some idiot that wants to take it too far, and I have stories that I could tell about those running. But overall, it was a really, really wonderful, life and childhood in America and in Germany, everywhere. And the promise of modernity, it just hasn't panned out. The more, in fact, actually, it's funny because P. Diddy. I think of P. Diddy. He has a song called "More Money, More Problems."
Yeah.
And that's what it reminds me of. That today everybody has more money, and like I said, I mean, a good meal for my mother and myself living in the German version of projects. They call them the barracks. But anyway, living in this one room, which was about the size of this room that we're in right now. She was there. I had a crib. There was a potbelly stove and a sink, and that was it. You had to go down the hall to go to the bathroom. It was a common bathroom.
And it was pine boards, no insulation.
No, nothing. And yet, that's where I came from, but loved every minute of it.
And what, an outhouse?
No, it was a bathroom on the end of the hall.
Okay. Oh, it was kind of a common bathroom. That's
right. There were like 3 or 4 units on one side, and another in the hallway, and then another 3 or 4 on the other side. And it was a German version of the projects after the war, where all the poor people. Anyway, I always tell people this, and I know people can't believe it, but to me, the finest meal you could have, and I still have my wife make it every night, or I do it myself. German bread, the brown bread, the hard crust and soft inside. Yeah. Anyway, you take it, butter. My mouth starts watering talking about it, which is weird. But especially when you hear what it is, but it's butter, and you slice a radish. You put radish slices on it, and then salt the radish. You know what that does, right? It makes it bleed. It becomes wet. If you ever take a dry radish, you'll put it in, you see this dry radish cut up, you put salt on it, and after about 30 seconds to a minute, it's all wet. And what the salt does, it sucks the juice out of the radish, and then it coats the whole thing with this salty tape flavor and all. But anyway, and so one of those, a slice of old German bread, sliced radishes and butter, that was about as good as it got for me when I was a little boy.
Does it still have that tart radish taste?
No. It's like I can't. It's hard to describe it, but you'll have to try it. So
but it's all about the salt, right?
Yeah. The salt mixing with the radish, and then the butter and the bread.
Oh yeah.
When you put those all together.
See, my mom would make homemade bread, and the crust was really tough. Right.
Yeah.
But the insides, when you first cut it, and it's a rough texture. It's not like Wonder Bread, No. This is a sturdy texture. And I remember putting a big slab of butter in. It comes out hot out of the oven, right? And you slice it where it mitts because it's too hot to hold. Oh, man.
Yeah. But like I said, it was a simple life. And me and my, I call us our ghetto rat posse. Me and a bunch of I was the only black one. The other ones were all like towhead little Germans, and which is really weird. Okay, after Hitler, I mean, we're talking 8-9 years after the end of World War II. Yeah, and we're running around, me and I'm like the leader of the gang, because I didn't know I was black. I just oh yeah, I just knew I was, and I'm on the outside. I'm looking from the inside out, so I don't know what I look like.
I had a kid in the youth group. My first church, I was a part of the pastoral staff in Minneapolis. And the pastor's son hung out with Joey Lash. Joey's black, and Joey's born again. And he and the pastor's son go on a bus trip to see his aunt, the little pastor's son, his aunt. And they miss their connection in Chicago. And they call up collect to his dad, the senior. And Joey Lash is crying. He says, "We missed our bus. And we're stuck here. And all these black people." And the pastor says, "Joey, is there a restroom there?" Yes. Well, go in that restroom, look in the mirror. You're black. It's my son. I'm a little bit concerned. Yeah. Because Joey hung out in this, with the Texas preacher's family. Yeah. And so, but let me ask you this.
I'm trapped in Chicago with all these black people. Go look in the mirror. That's good. Well, that's kind of how it was, because there was no point of, I'm only the only black kid, in my school and this and that, everywhere I went, it was just me. being me. And so all I was is a little kraut, a little German.
Yeah, and truly, your mother, she lived through the whole Third Reich era, right?
Right.
But you came along late enough to where the mindset of the German culture, they kind of gotten rid of that Aryan super race kind of thing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, they did. And it's funny because I think I told you a story about my uncle, my mom's brother. We were at some place visiting another uncle of theirs. He was a little older than them. And so we go there, and while the person's there, they're doing something. He's talking to my mom. Oh, hello, it's good to get, all there. And so my uncle, he's looking at me and mouthing, Nazi. Oh. And then he went, gross, the big Nazi. He was important. And my uncle's doing this behind this guy's back. Said, it's a big Nazi. Yeah. And I'm sitting there trying my best to keep from just cracking up in the middle of this thing, And my uncle, for example, my mom, he was real funny because he had to join the German army.
Yeah.
But he ended up somehow becoming a driver.
Oh.
And so when he heard the Americans had crossed the Rhine and were coming, he deserted. He took one of the cars and drove all the way back home. And I don't know how they didn't catch him or anything. I guess the war ended by.
There's so much chaos by that time. Yeah,
but he took whatever car they had him driving, generals or colonels around it. He took that car and headed east, and back home. I used to crack me. He was a funny guy.
Let me ask you this. Yeah. So in the southern Germany, the most
Bavaria, Bayern.
Yeah, the most Aryan mentality of Germany, right?
Yeah, besides Berlin, probably.
Yeah. And mid-50s, and I think in the 60s in Philly, you probably dealt with more racial stuff.
Yeah, it's interesting. I did. But here, this is what something I sometimes deal with and wonder that I've always had the hand of God on my life.
Yeah,
no hand of protection, and. You talk about undeserved. I mean, because I was a bad little kid, in different periods. Little kid, middle kid, teenager. I was just bad. So anyway, I did a whole lot of stuff I'm not proud of. But it's funny, everywhere I went, it was like things always, my mother used to say, son, you're going to have a hard time when you grow up. Because it's not going to be, at some point, it's going to get bad for you. I mean, she was jealous of how things just seemed to work out.
And so now your wife's jealous of you and your Black privilege, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's the opposite. But no, seriously, like I think on Fasching, which is Passover, the beginning of Passover, they would have a parade, right? My little Catholic school, I'm a little Catholic. The only Black kid in the whole school, right? Mm-hmm. What do? They give me, you have a flag bearer. Mm-hmm. I'm the guy in the front carrying the flag.
That's an honor.
We get to and they used to set up carnivals in town, just set up in the middle of the town square, which is near where we lived. And so they set up the town square. I get there, we're standing there, some couple looks over and says, oh, what a cute little Black boy. Mm-hmm. And so they come over to give me, and do you want to ride the ride? Mm. So I'm riding the ride. All of my classmates are standing, and here's Eddie on the merry-go-round, on the big, the horse and this and that. And my classmates are all standing there watching. Nobody else gets their ride paid for. And they're as poor as me, most of them. And then they try to give me money. Mm-hmm. And I would take the money and throw it at them because I don't want this money, because, just like today, it's funny because, my mother used to, because I ran, she was working at this restaurant helping the people out, for this carnival. And so she's in there. I ran to my mother and these people, they followed me in there. And what's going on? Well, these people are harassing me. And so they said, oh, no, we just want to give him money, man. And they tried to get, and I threw it back in. I'm thinking, I just did not want, I don't want your charity.
Okay, yeah.
Anyway, so my mother later on said, boy, you should have changed. I wish you were still like that, not wanting, you're wanting my money all the time, when I hit about 12 or 13. But anyway, that's part of the German life that I remember. So I didn't really experience anything. I'd hear, we moved to another time. My best friend had these older brothers. Mm-hmm. And so, he and I, my best friend and I, we were playing somewhere, mm-hmm. and these older kids, probably I was like 7 or 8, and then these kids are like 12 or 13, and they're out there, Shama de Negan, and look at that nigger, hey nigger, taunting me, messing with me, mm-hmm. and I'm looking around. Mm-hmm. What are they talking about? No, but all of a sudden, here comes my best friend's older brothers.
There you go.
Who were like 15, 16.
Sure.
And they chased these guys, we're going to beat the pulp out of them,
Yeah.
And chased and never had a problem anymore because my best friend's brothers were like the toughest guys, kids in town, And so it was like I was protected wherever I went. I used to go into stores and, ask for candy and stuff and just tell them, my grandmother will pay for it and they give me whatever I want.
My goodness.
Yeah, exactly. So I didn't have what you would think of as a bad childhood because of my race. And I'm born in the middle of Aryan territory, which is really bizarre when you think about it.
But that builds us up to, folks, if you've read part 1 of his biographical, wait for part 2 called My Black Privileged Life. Anyhow.
Two things. This is not biographical, okay? It does not deal with my life, okay, at all.
You tell a lot of stories of your life in it, though.
Man, I don't remember. Did I write that? Are you sure it's the same book? I don't write. No, I talk about instances that reflect against what I'm talking about.
Yeah, you use your life experiences to make your points.
Some are just, yeah. But no, I am working on, and I'm deliberating between the title of Confessions of an Army Brat or Confessions of a Brown Baby.
Okay.
Brown baby is what they used to call
mixed race
kid. Yeah.
Mulatto. Some people.
Well, that's the actual real term. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then you've got, now they talk about biracial, but yeah, you had mulatto, then you had quadroon, then you had octoroon.
Now that would describe your kids and your grandkids.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Bi is half. Droon, I don't know where the droon comes from. Mm-hmm. And then octoroon is 1/8 black, and that's the grandkids. But so it's a weird, that's what I just laugh nowadays at racial dynamics.
See, I've got one grandson who's half black. So my grandkids are more black than your grandkids, Eddie.
Yeah, no, they are. Right. Yeah. And your son-in-law is more black than any of mine. But
you know what's funny about it? My kids gave me for Christmas one year the Ancestry.com. What do you call it?
DNA test.
DNA test. Thank you. And so Amy, my daughter, says to her husband Khalil, said, "Tell me about." Because the funny thing is, my kids didn't really believe me or weren't sure what to believe when I talk about, the family history, genealogy stuff. And sure enough, it proved out I was telling the truth. But she said, "Khalil, tell me about your ancestry." Like most black people.
He came from the planet Krypton, didn't
he? Like most people. They just knew it was Africa. That's why, remember when you were a young college student watching Roots with Alex Haley?
Book. Yeah.
Incredible. Probably the most earth-shaking miniseries ever on TV. But we found out, because she said, "Okay, Khalil, I'm getting you this." He had as much Belgian tribal blood in him as my daughter did. So there's, we oversimplify, and very carnally go to their skin tone to decide how to pigeonhole.
Yeah, that's very common. I think I told a story about this friend of my mother's, this lady she knew, and her husband divorced her because she had a baby, and the baby came out and it looked black, part black. It wasn't dark, and so the husband wouldn't believe that she hadn't fooled around and divorces her, or figured that, he didn't want nigga in his background, and then it turns out after they did a DNA test, found out it was on his side.
Oh my
goodness. Yeah. So that's a cautionary tale right there. But yeah, America is so mixed in every sense, whether it's Hispanic, then you got the German, the Polish, the African, South American, Asian, it's an amazing thing. That's truly what America was. And it used to be a melting pot. Now, the sad thing is we've become a smelting pot, which is the opposite. We're trying to separate everything again.
Yeah.
I just, on Facebook, saw this deal. It was Facebook or YouTube, this mixed black girl. She's lighter than me, okay?
Yeah.
Which tells me that there's some Caucasian in there somewhere, and probably one of her parents. And she's in there talking about how we need to eradicate white men or something like that, and black people shouldn't have anything to do with these horrible white people. And I'm thinking, what an idiot. What an idiot you are. And see, what's happened, you have these people that are only thinking of themselves, and they want to impress somebody in their sphere. Yeah. They want to impress their college colleagues, some girl, some guy, some whatever. And in fact, there was a girl who had a white father, and she and publicly, it was a big hall she was speaking to, and she publicly came out and disavowed her father and said she hated everything about the white blood that he put in her and all this. And I said, are you insane? Let's see how far that gets you. Or look at Colin Kaepernick, okay? He was biracial. He was adopted. We don't know really what the situation was with his mother, whether she was a junkie or whatever happened. But anyway, and so this white couple adopts the kid, raises him, gives him a great home, and he ends up being a good football player, goes to the University of Nevada, Las Vegas. I'm sorry. It was the University of Reno, University of Nevada. And is a star there, gets drafted by the San Francisco 49ers, making millions of dollars. And what does he do? He's got a kneel for the players, this nation, this racist nation that is oppressive, the oppressor and all this. And I was saying, you idiot, what is wrong with this? It's that same nation you're condemning that gave you the opportunity to be who you are. Really? If we were so bad, and if we were as bad as you make out, you wouldn't be living where you are. You wouldn't be making the money you are. You wouldn't be doing what you're doing. You'd be watching some white people do it, and you'd be left in the hood on the streets or something, Yeah. So this is the idiocy that you find in a certain segment, particularly of mixed race kids. And then even worse, my daughter had these friends, and they used to be a Christian singing duo, whatever. Never made it popular. I can see why. But anyway, they adopted this black baby. She couldn't have children, so she adopts this black child. And so she's on the Facebook all the time talking about she's fearful for her mixed race adopted child and what kind of future he might have and the oppressiveness. And my daughter, of course, disavowed her, we're done. Because my kids all know. Yeah. There was not a problem. And in fact, not a problem even when I show up. That's my dad. People may be surprised. Whoa, wait a minute. Your dad, he's not just black. He's really black, you know? And so you have a lot of that, and it just always baffles me how these people, and it's your typical liberal progressive. It's all about me. It wasn't so much about the child. Yeah. It's about, look how good I am. I adopted this poor minority child. And so now you've got to feel sorry for me and my child. If your child grows up messed up or lacking in any way, it's not somebody else's fault. It's your fault.
Yeah.
It's your fault because, like I said, I grew up in an era where interracial marriage was against the law in 16 states.
Your folks had to move and give up promotions.
Well, no, they just didn't want to go where they were supposed to go at one point and went somewhere else. But they never actually had to move.
Well, they were transferred and they said, no, we can't go there.
Well, my dad,
breaking state law.
My dad, right, and they did it. But anyway, so, you know, and not just them, I'm just saying in general.
Yeah.
I grew up in that, and as you know, I think from listening to me, I didn't have a bad childhood. In fact, I don't even know any of my friends that had bad childhoods, you know, because it's all about how you raise them. It's the parents, Black, white, Asian, Native American, you name it. Every child is going to succeed according to how their parents and their environment
okay, so it's
grown up in.
The victim mentality, which Booker T. Washington decried as one of the worst things for the black man, is to think of themselves consistently as a victim instead of seeing their opportunity and knowing that it's up to them. Now, when your friends that adopted a black child, is that what you call virtue signaling? Would that be a term?
I guess not the adoption, but making a big deal out of it. Right. Look at us. We adopted this. Look at us. We're so loving, and you know, and all you're doing is creating a bad environment, because I guarantee you what will happen to that child. You're putting this into his head, and then when he gets to a certain point, he will resent you.
Yeah. Because
you're telling white people are bad. And then he's going to want to go all into this black culture. And then that's going to teach him that those parents are bad, like Colin Kaepernick.
Yeah.
And you're trash. And you basically have set it up. And that's just the way it is. It's just ridiculous, some of these things. And only the foolish play that game.
Mm-hmm. One of the things my dad taught me, one of the greatest lessons, is that the equality of humanity. That we're all on the same level and we should be judged by our actions, our character. And when you see people do things like this, like specifically tell an adoption agency, it's got to be a black kid, you know, couple from, you know, he's from Norway, she's from Sweden, but they want a black kid. Why? So they can parade around and say, look, our great virtue.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah, that's the thing. It's always about them versus the child.
Yeah.
You know, like somebody used to tell me, kids to a certain point, they're made of rubber.
Yeah.
You know, when they fall, they bounce.
That's true.
They don't break.
They're resilient.
Yeah. You know, speaking physically, you know, because we would freak out, you know, oh, my baby fell. Oh, no. You know,
yeah.
I learned early not to play that game.
Yeah, it's true.
When my kids fell, tripped, you know, when they're learning to walk and they fall and trip and they want to start crying, we would laugh.
Oh.
And then the kid, but then the child looks around and says, well, wait a minute. They're laughing, so this must be funny. But if you, oh no, okay. All of a sudden, what do? They'll start crying and screaming.
Oh, I'm supposed to scream and get attention. And
right. But if you laugh, then okay, nobody. Okay,
right.
I'm okay.
But if their arm is bent halfway to the elbow.
Yeah, of course. Come on. Yes, obviously. Yeah. But what I'm saying, the overreaction is the same as these people thinking just because your child is black or something, that all of a sudden you're supposed to feel extra sorry for them.
Yeah.
and coddle them. And all you're doing is you're creating a monster. Let me just tell you from experience. But hey, we better move on to some something more, and or as they say, mo better.
I do have a heavy topic.
Please.
Yesterday, Donald Trump rescinded his endorsement of Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Right.
He's already called for a primary opponent to Thomas Massey. They're some of the most principled conservatives I know in Congress. And I'm just a little bit troubled because it's not just Trump. I'm not just pointing at Trump. I'm seeing the right devouring itself increasingly so when just 2 months ago, with Charlie Kirk's assassination, there was unity on the right, and they were following the model and example that Charlie Kirk set. Charlie Kirk had a lot of friends who didn't get along with each other, but they all admired Charlie Kirk. Right.
But see what's happening is it goes both ways. Marjorie Taylor Greene is wanting to open this investigation or further the investigation into the Epstein situation. And so Trump is tired of this. We need to focus on something more. Let the Democrats push for that, and whatever they can find, wherever it leads, let it lead. But we don't need you all of a sudden focusing on this, which has already been run through the mill for now. How many years? The Biden administration had 4 years God, I cannot get rid of these things. I've got traps.
They're not bothering me, Eddie, just you.
Oh, thank you. It's because I'm so sweet.
Yeah, but
no, but do you understand what I'm saying? I understand Trump's point. With all of the situations and all the things facing America right now, okay, why are we doing this when even the Democrats, who are the ones who really want to make hay of this or make something of it, they're not even focused on it because they know they've got bigger issues to deal with than whether Trump was on Lolita Island or something, and which has already been proven time over time again that he wasn't there. Okay, so why is Marjorie Taylor Greene making an issue of this?
It's going to stay an issue until they just release the information.
Yeah, but he's not the one holding. It's the judge that's withholding. It's a Democrat judge. Yes. Go look it up.
I did.
Okay, find it.
Okay.
Show me.
218 signatures have been submitted to the clerk of Congress to release it. So this next week, it's set to be released.
Okay, then the judge changed his mind because there was a Democrat-appointed judge.
Evidently, the Congress has some authority to do something here.
I tell you, why are they picking on Trump then?
You don't hear me picking on Trump. You don't hear Marjorie Taylor Greene picking on Trump. Trump he's protesting too much.
I don't think he is. What he's saying, Marjorie, there are bigger fishes to fry. Let the courts do their job. Let the Democrats come after me all they will. I don't need you over here. I need you over here with these guys pushing to lower wages, to help unemployment, to help our economy, to do whatever you need to do for Georgia, who elected you and sent you here, and they did not send you here to do the Democrats'
That's
work.
like saying, don't walk, just chew gum. You can do both.
No, not effectively.
218 members of Congress just signed their name to
Great. Let them sign. You don't see him against 218, but Marjorie Taylor's out in front of things speaking, yes, we need it, and it's just, she's become, honestly, listen, I support overall Marjorie Taylor Greene's stand. I always have. But it gets to a point when it's more about Marjorie Taylor Greene than it is about the nation.
Well, and now you're viewing her attitude. You're trying to say her motives are wrong. I'm only judging actions.
Well, yeah, but you can't separate them. Actions are based on the motive that from the person who is putting something into action.
I know you have the gift of discerning of spirits, Eddie, and maybe that's what's at work here. But I don't know what's motivating her. I just have to look objectively at the action. Is that action okay?
Well,
I don't have a problem with the act.
Yeah, but okay, and you think it's okay?
I don't have a problem with it.
Okay, well,
I think it goes away with sunlight.
Yes, but let somebody else shine the light on it. If she wants to sign,
if she made a promise to her constituents in Georgia that she was going to support that, she needs to back that up with
that's not what got her elected. That's
I don't know that. I don't live in Georgia.
Well, I do. I can tell you because I've read her campaign literature.
Okay.
She's supposed to be helping Georgia get jobs, bring money back from the feds to the state. She's representing the state on federal matters. She's not sent there to get the president to deal some issue that's been dealt with for now, 12 years.
The best statement Trump made on it is, you know what? If there was anything in there, the Biden people would have released it before the election.
Yeah, but
that's a great statement. I don't think Trump's at all worried about it. I think Trump should support it because then it goes away.
He gets frustrated because he's trying to get all these other things done, and you're sitting over here still dealing with, you're letting the Democrats drive your agenda. And that's what I think gets his goat. He sees what I see, and that is the Democrats unify. Look at everything that Biden and his son, Obama, the Clintons, and everything that they've done. Never did you hear Democrats coming out against. The Democrats were focused. We want to get the House back. We want to get the Senate back. We want to take the entire Congress back, and we want to push our agenda.
Yeah,
they weren't nitpicking, and we know Bill Clinton in his blue dress, Monica's blue dress, and we know, and this and that, and Obama, we know he did this and this and this.
This was not a Democrat issue while Biden was president, was it?
No.
Yeah, they're insinuating, and they'll continue to insinuate as long as there's some secret that hasn't been revealed.
Right. And Marjorie Taylor Greene is helping. There are people, let the people who want to investigate. As you said, 200 and some people signed on to have them release it. And the judge, it was a judge, again, you can go back and see it, who was withholding it. And I guess he's changed his mind and said, okay, release it.
Now, similar, and you've made it clear, and I think I've made it clear on that issue with Marjorie Taylor Greene. Similarly, Tucker Carlson and his research team have come out with a lot of information that refutes what the Justice Department is saying about Tom Crooks, the assassin, or would-be assassin of Trump.
Charlie Kirk.
No.
Oh, the guy was hiding in the bushes.
Butler, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
They said he had no social media presence. Last night I watched a video with Tucker Carlson where he showed like 18 different social media accounts. And he put them all together and said, he says, look, my team had it, and I don't have nearly the information that the FBI and the Justice Department have. But he clearly is showing that we have not been given a clear picture of what possible associations, connections, are going on here. And so last night, Kash Patel did this big deal talking about, we did this, we did hundreds, all these people, and there's nothing more to give you. He didn't show anything. He just made a lot of claims that we've done everything we can. And Tucker's just saying, your summary, which is all you gave me, doesn't add up with the facts that my team, found. So there's just a problem with information getting out there, whether it's the Justice Department or whoever else. And I tell you, these kinds of things, if you don't have full disclosure, you're going to have people, and conspiracies like this, they will grow and grow, these theories.
It goes all the way back to JFK.
Yes.
The same thing. I mean, it's just we're in an era now where people are ready to bite at that apple more than they did in the past. Because in the past with JFK in the situation, I think we all suspect that possibly there was the man on the grassy knoll. Okay.
There's the Bruder tape films that all of a sudden is like, oh my goodness, now we know more than all this Warren Commission stuff.
Well, all those Zapruder tape really did was show, his recoiling or whatever. And so we assume that because, usually when you get shot, you're pushed away from the direction that the shot comes from or whatever, and it seems like his head goes back and the back of his head was blown out instead of the front. So, yeah, but there was not the fervor shown on that as there is on whether Trump was on Lolita Island or not. I mean, that's what's so weird, that's just where we are. And it's very easy for the Democrats or somebody just throw that out there. Well, Trump was on there, he was. And then it's like, prove yourself innocent instead of prove him guilty.
Yeah.
They don't have to prove anything. All they have to say is because he knew Epstein, he flew on his plane, he had to have molested women, even though every female they talked to never met him. Half of them never met him. The ones who did said he was always the nicest person, but never had anything to do. But no, now just because he's like, I remember he's in the middle of a speech about the economy or a relation with one of our country, and somebody, what about Epstein? And he gets, are you serious? We're dealing with something like this, which is very important for the economy of the nation, and you're going to throw this question out there? No,
that was a question to Pam Bondi at a cabinet meeting, and he cut in to say that.
Right. Okay.
But it was the media was in there during the cabinet meeting,
right? And
they were saying to Bondi, "Hey, when are you going to make good on your promise to release this?"
Right.
stuff?
And I think Trump is frustrated because we're looking at. If the media had the same fervor of finding out what Tucker really did, the money that Biden got under the table, or the election fraud in 2020, and this and that, they never had this. And yet she's talking about these other issues, and we got these issues going on, and now you're going to worry about that. That's where I think he just got ticked off. And he hasn't tried to influence any investigation, tell them to stop it or whatever.
All I'm saying is I'm ready for this issue to be gone. And it'll never be gone until you've released that which is in your power to release.
That won't do it. I promise you. I've always said Democrats are like rust. Rust never sleeps. And so no matter what they come out with, unless they say he's guilty, he was there, he raped 10 girls or something, the Democrats aren't going to believe it. They won't want. They do not want to believe it.
I don't care about that. I know enough, Eddie, to discern between what is a valid point and it has no validity.
But Dave, that's you and me.
It doesn't matter to me whether the irrational.
There, you've got me involved again. See, you're making it all about you. You can't make it about you.
I'm not. I'm using myself as example. The rational thinking, well-balanced American needs to. Okay, everything's been released.
How many of those are there?
And I'm hoping there's still plenty. I don't care what the DNC propaganda machine comes up with. You do that which is reasonable. And you leave it at that. If that isn't good enough, then it says more about the person constantly badgering you.
But you're taking away the focus and the energy and the money and everything else from real issues that could be dealt with by focusing on this. And you're basically appeasing it. You keep feeding
This is the House of Representatives, which has basically been in recess for over a month now.
Yeah, well, Marjorie should be upset that they're, out for over a month. I mean, this is like almost a month old, Marjorie Taylor Greene's thing.
No, this was a Chuck Schumer thing. And there's nothing Marjorie can do about Chuck Schumer.
Well, no, I know. No, but what I'm saying is, see, those are things she should be using this time to deal with the things that are really going on that the Democrats have been doing to shore up things. Listen, we really only have 1 year left to prepare for the 2026, I'm sorry, the 2028 election.
Midterms are in 11 months.
Right. 11 months is the midterm. But see, they're going to start running for president already.
Oh, yeah.
In a year from now.
As soon as midterms are done, you're immediately in president.
So our energy should be spent on who's next.
Okay.
How do we prepare that? What is our agenda? And so forth. And when you've got Marjorie over here and you know, what's the old saying, what's the most dangerous place on earth? It's between a microphone and Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Well, that original statement was between Chuck Schumer.
Right. Well, I think it was even somebody else before that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's always somebody, and it's actually between a camera and Chuck Schumer.
Yes.
Marjorie.
Yes.
But what I'm saying, let me just finish my thought.
Yeah.
You know, we need to start focusing on the majors. Let them pick and claw at this, and eventually a judge will say it's a Democrat judge that has kept the files from being zipped up. He won't let them go, which tells me that's probably because not Trump is in them. You probably got Clinton and a handful of other Democrat nobles that are implicated in the whole Lolita Island thing.
Yeah.
And that's why he didn't want to let it go.
Well, you got 3 co-equal branches of government, and I don't think that the House is going to say that a judge can stop them from exercising.
Well, he can. I mean, they're stopping everything else until he can until he gets to the Supreme Court, which would say whatever.
Yeah.
That's why we remember they're co-equal branches. Okay. Some are a little more equal than others.
We got a constitutional battle raging in Oklahoma right now at the state constitution. As you know, we've had John Cox in studio here a few months back. I called him last night because another prominent Republican senator, Adam Pugh, had thrown his hat in the ring and said, I'm going to run. There's a problem. You know Brian Crane, former state senator. Yeah. Brian Crane was running for an open seat as district attorney in Tulsa County. Kunzweiler was also in the race. But Brian Crane, one day in mid-May, said, I'm withdrawing from the race because a bill came to the floor in the Senate. The Oklahoma Constitution says you cannot run for an office whose salary, emoluments they call it, have been addressed in legislation before your body. It was voted down, but Brian Crane said, that doesn't matter. The Constitution's clear on this. You can't run for that office until the office you're elected to expires. That's mid-November of the year. Adam Pugh just ran last year. So his office doesn't expire till 2028. And they just adjusted the pay, like doubled it for state superintendent of public instruction. As soon as the next term comes in, it'll be $250,000.
And he's running for that now.
Well, he had thrown his hat in the ring. And I called John Cox. I said, hey, take a look at the Brian Crane example, because another guy, Fred Jordan, state president, Kunzweiler sued him. It went to court. Kunzweiler said, you're not eligible because you're in the House, and that bill came to the House and got passed in the House. And the Supreme Court said, well, he wouldn't take office until his term had expired. And Stephen Taylor.
Right, but this is a different situation since this office won't expire till 28.
Right.
It's in the
very clear. And Brian Crane's is very clear.
Yeah.
So this is a problem when you run and you get a 4-year term as Senate. You can't really run for any state office 2 years from now.
Right. Which is a good. I think it's a good policy. And so, is anyone going to sue to keep him out of it?
Well, John Cox told me last night he's already been approached for comment by NonDoc, whose story I read on it, and KFOR TV in Oklahoma City. And he said, really, there's 2 issues. He said more than doubling the pay was just ridiculous. You know, he says, now you're likely to get candidates as gold diggers coming in because it's just so much money. Yeah. And so he just disagrees with that whole, it's what it is. It's a commission set up by the legislature to decide pay for state officials. And so, but he thanked me for mentioning the Brian Crane situation because there's an example. Brian Crane is a good attorney. He knows state law, and he knew he was disqualified.
Right.
And, I asked Kunzweiler about it, because Kunzweiler thinks that Justice Stephen Taylor was a rock star. I mean, because he said the plain language of the Constitution says he cannot be on a ballot while he's still in office, for that. So,
well, if that's plain language, then someone needs to interpret it as in plain language.
Yeah. And, sadly, we've had a horrible Supreme Court for so many years. Yeah. Horrible.
Yeah, they're going to find. Now, the question is this other rep, is he a Republican or a Democrat? The one who's still in the legislature.
Adam Pugh, Republican leader.
He's a Republican. Mm-hmm. So there, the Democrats may, in the judiciary, the Supreme Court, will probably not necessarily find for him just because he's a Democrat.
Well, no, he's a Republican.
No, I'm saying they won't find for him because he's a Democrat. Right?
But see, when Kunzweiler sued Jordan, they were both Republicans. The unique thing in there, and this was Jordan's position, is I wouldn't be taking office until my term.
Right.
But,
it still shouldn't.
Stephen Taylor says, no, you're going to win that in the August runoff.
Right.
While you could go into special session now, because they have had special sessions in November, and write a bill to triple the pay that you just got elected.
And how did it end up?
Kunzweiler ended up defeating him anyway.
Okay.
And, the funny thing, Fred Jordan says, he says, it's been kind of hard for me to raise money while my qualifications are under challenge here.
Yeah, you would think so.
And so
how's Fred doing anyway, by the way? I haven't heard from him.
I ran into him at the Capitol. It's been a little while. He was doing lobbying work. He had clients there. And, by the way.
Carpetbagger.
Yeah. By the way, there's a part 2 to the story.
Okay.
Good friend of mine, Senator Lee Wright. He's no longer senator. He did not run again. He took a nice job, actually, as a lobbyist. He got appointed to this commission on state officials' pay by Kyle Hilbert, Speaker of the House. And they're both from Creek County. And I know both these guys I consider friends. And James said, Kyle, I'm not sure the Constitution allows me, or the statutes allow me to. Well, Kyle looked up one position and says, no, he can. Problem is, you have dual language in 2 different statutes. So one says, yeah, this guy can. The other says, no, a lobbyist cannot sit on this commission. And because one of them says he can't, therefore, he said, yes, I need to be taken off. And yes, I think the decisions that I voted on need to be revoted. So we're likely to have round 2, a revote, once we get somebody else in place there. And I think Hilbert, it's an honest mistake on his part. I think Kyle Hilbert's straight shooter, young guy. James Lee Wright, I'm quite confident is. So I don't think there's a whole lot of hanky-panky, but the point is, I think we get another shot at this with the different makeup of the board.
Something I want to bring up, which, speaking of these state issues, to me, the most important issue that will probably be on the ballot, I don't know where the petition is at right now, and that is nonpartisan state elections. Mm-hmm. Do you know anything where we are on the petition thing? Because they need a certain amount of signatures to get it on the ballot. And then once that happens, then what will happen? We will create a situation in the state like we have in Tulsa, where you're basically not allowed to say you probably say where you are, but on the ballot, it will have no party affiliation.
Actually, this one they still will. The way they wrote this one, it'll list which ones are Democrat and Republican, but it'll be a jungle primary. So Monday night, we had a good report on this issue at the county committee of the Republican Party. And it is a state constitutional question, which means if we pass it by a slim majority, 50% plus one, legislature no longer has any say in it.
Right.
It'll be stuck. You can't change it. This is why I think it should be a lot harder to get a constitutional amendment than a statutory initiative petition, vote of the people.
Well, I think the onus is on the public for us to vote it down. So everyone you know should be opposed to this. Do you know what is it? What is it? 8 something?
Yeah, they're all 8 something now.
Oh, okay. They're all 8. Okay.
Yeah, well, they number them in order.
Right,
you know?
right, yeah. 860 something, I think. But anyway, tell everyone you know to tell everyone they know to tell everyone they know that we must override this, because if we get into a nonpartisan voting statewide, just like citywide, you can throw, I mean, we may not have a Republican governor and House for many, many years.
So there's at least 3 ballot initiative petitions that we've heard of in the news. One did not make their signature requirement, and that's for marijuana full legalization. So that's not going to come up next year. Another, though, that is in the process is a mandated state minimum wage. And that's going to be locked in constitutionally, not to vote of the legislature or vote of the people, but it's going to be this perpetual thing of the cost of living and
there's a formula,
some other index of like 20 some states. And it'll just be forced upon us that it goes up every time cost of living goes up, which you and I, Eddie, both know it's a snowball.
Yeah.
Because one of the biggest factors in our cost of living is the cost of labor for what we buy. That includes the restaurants, that includes, everything, the convenience stores, everything. And if that proposal passes, Eddie, remember the jobs you and I had as kids. I pumped gas. I carried groceries out and put them in people's cars. I delivered papers. Those teen jobs are gone.
55 cents an hour is what I started at.
Yeah.
55 cents an hour. Imagine. Not $5.55, $7.55, 55 cents, period. Or period 5.5 is what I was making per hour. Yeah.
I delivered papers every week, every day. In every 2 weeks, I made $3. You do the math.
Yeah, that's $3 more than I made my first paper. Yeah. Although it was actually probably ended up more. I got a free movie pass. I could go to any movie, anytime, as many times as I wanted, and it was better than money. I'm a 9-year-old kid, 9-10 years old, riding my bike, just throwing papers, and I knew I could go to the movies. Yeah. And I had my mother rolling my papers for me.
No. At 8 years old, I'm going downtown. I'm delivering papers in a bar, right? At 8 years old.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yes.
You're younger than I was. Yes. I was 9. And
every day when I would do complete route, including middle of the winter, could be 20 below. Yeah. I made 14 cents a day.
14 cents. See, there you go. You beat my 55 cents an hour. 14 cents a day. That's crazy.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, these, the whole minimum wage argument, it's just such a silly one because people are so selfish and they're blinded by the numbers that they don't really think it through. Because, when we went from $7.50 to $15 an hour. Not everywhere, but some states, California, I know, went to that, and certain states and certain
Washington
areas.
Did.
Yeah, and certain businesses decided. So if you go from $7.50 to $15, that doubled that wage. So now what happens to the manager that was getting $15 an hour?
Right.
Is he going to still getting $15 for the same person that's flipping burgers or whatever?
Right.
No, you're going to have to raise him at least to $25 an hour, I would say, not necessarily 30, but let's say $25 an hour. So now you've increased your basic labor and your middle management salaries. So if that happens across the board, what's going to happen now? The cost of the burgers is going to have either that, or they're going to have to fire a third of the employees. Right. And so now you've got all this unemployment because the business can't afford to pay, or they have to up the price of hamburgers and milkshakes and French fries by 25% or more, and at least, and then slim margin they will have left. And so people never think about, because it's all, we have become a me society.
Eddie, I'm telling you, it's worse than that. The AFL-CIO, the United Auto Workers, the Teamsters, they've all structured their contracts not to a certain set dollar, but a formula based on the federal
minimum wage.
So that when the kid, who delivers, your food to your table, when they get an increase, the guy down at the auto plant is getting the same percentage increase.
And it's a percentage.
Yes.
And when you take $50 an hour, let's say, which some of the auto workers would receive, then you take a 10%, 20%, that's $10 an hour, $10 an hour. You multiply that times all the people. I mean, honestly, it's insane. You can't, it's unsustainable, as they like to, it's the liberals' favorite thing is sustainability that they talk about. And this is unsustainable.
Eddie, everything right now, it's tied. Look at what Trump is doing with tariffs. It's to make the American manufacturer more competitive. Well, I'm sorry, but you just undo it when you go with the federal minimum raise double.
Yeah. And that's going to happen because you got greedy bleeps who will sit there and so now the owner of the company, the owner of the manufacturing plant or whatever, he's now making more money, so we want some of it. Yeah. We deserve some of it. So instead of helping us hire more people and create more jobs, all you're doing is paying more money to the people that have the jobs, and maybe create less. So there's a greediness, the love of money, as the Bible says, the love of money is just, it's run rampant. It's out of control. It's so funny because we went through the Depression, and you think of the people that were just so thankful to have a job. If you had a job back then and could bring something home to feed your family and all, we were grateful. Yeah. And we are so 100 years later, we're so far from that.
My parents both grew up on farms. And farms, a farm kid doesn't have a choice. You might call it child abuse in your liberal leftist, thinking today, but you know what? Kids on a farm became a net financial asset at age 8. On average.
Because they were out there in the
because
fields.
Their productivity paid for their upkeep and taking care of the room and board. Even in town, I had newspapers, shine shoes. Since I was like 8 years old, raking leaves, shoveling snow, mowing lawns.
Did you have one of those little caps?
But I did it all.
I picture you with the cap and dirt on your face.
Yeah, well, that was my spending money. There's no such thing as allowance anywhere near our place.
No, I never had one.
And the thing is, I had to every morning this summer go out and weed the garden for 2 hours. Massive garden, because we provided for our own food.
Right. Your allowance was 3 meals a day.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and this is the thing. Eddie, was that abuse? No, that built character in me. Fortunately, being self-employed, I was able to put my kids to work. And by the time they were 18, each one of those kids had their own business. Mm-hmm. Okay. And I think that's very smart. I think that's part of training up a child.
It's so funny because I think when I was when you were growing up still, mm-hmm. everyone looks forward to getting a job.
Yeah.
I look forward, you can't wait for your first job because you've got some money. It didn't matter what they were paying you. They're paying you to do something because you could go buy a burger, go to the movies, take a girl to the movies, mm-hmm. whatever. You were just happy to have a job. Mm-hmm. Now, that's not good anymore. Are they paying me enough?
Yeah.
That job's no good. They're only paying so much. I could do this. Well, why aren't you? Well, they're not hiring right now.
But a kid doesn't find out if he's got a work ethic until he's 16.
Right. But that's what I'm saying. No one's being encouraged to have a work ethic. That they're not. They're encouraged to get the most they can or don't get it at all. Right. I mean, it's really sick. This is a little different deal, but I think I've told this story. I used to mentor this little kid from North Tulsa. And his mother had 4 kids. Each one had a different father. And so she was totally on welfare.
Yeah.
And so when Bush came, and this is how far back this was, mm-hmm. Bush came along and cut welfare. If you don't remember, you had to work fair, mm-hmm. work for welfare.
Sure.
And she was ticked off. She was mad that she would have to go to work. So what does she do? The only problem with the Bush's workfare is that you could quit your job after you got one, and then you would be back on welfare or get yourself fired. That was the deal.
There you go.
So she got herself fired. She worked like 6 weeks, and she was complaining about how she had to do this work. And so then this other lady basically adopted the kid or got her to sign over the guardianship to him. And then when the mom found out that she didn't know at first, she kind of got tricked into it. So when she found out, because that cut her welfare by one child, the amount she got for another child, what does she do? She finds somebody else to get her pregnant. She had another one so that she could get her income back there. This is what this creates in us. It's created, mm-hmm. I don't want to say the word animal because we'll be in trouble again. Remember when I was running, they got mad, and you said it last time. This time I'm saying it. No, but it's preying on our worst instinct to get the most for least.
Yep.
Right. So the least I have to work and get the most out of it, that's what I'm going to go for. And that's a bad situation. And this brings me up to something that was discussed in my little Saturday morning group. Mm-hmm. And that is Trump increasing the B1 something visas, B1
H1B visa.
H1B visa, right? H1B visa. He's going to increase those so we can import talent from other countries to do the work that Americans don't want to do.
Yeah.
And people will scream at that. What do you mean the work? It's true. Americans don't want to do certain work. Now, truly, H-1B visas are only for more skilled certain jobs. But
that's the proper use of them.
That's the proper use. That's true. Yeah. But so, and you're allowed $65,000 a year, and I think he may be asking for a few more to $80,000 or something. But in the drop in the bucket with 400 million people, 80-some thousand is really not that many people. Mm-hmm. But anyway, a lot of people are opposed to this. They think he's undercutting our workers. No, if you want to work, the jobs are out there. You can go right now, get the Tulsa World, mm-hmm. and go through the want ads, and there's page after page of jobs out there. Mm-hmm. The problem is we've created a situation where people don't want to work or will only work when it suits them.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not the job I want. I don't want to wash cars. I don't want to stock grocery shelves. I don't want to work at Walmart for $12 an hour, $13 an hour. You can't do that. The way we've got to get a mentality, especially into our kids, again, to get out there, get a job, prove yourselves, and move up the ladder.
Yep.
We don't want the ladder. Forget the ladder. Give me an elevator. I want to go straight to the top floor. I mean, that's honestly the best illustration that we can use is everybody wants to start at the top, and you can't do that. I remember when I was at Farmers, we had this kid from Stillwater from OSU come in. And he was interviewing, and he was black, and because I was black, they thought, well, you should talk to Eddie. Mm-hmm. I was the wrong person to talk to. No compassion.
You went all Booker T on him?
Yeah. Yeah. So this is what's crazy. Okay, this is what makes it so funny. And this is so typical. I hate to say it, people are going to say I'm a race traitor or a sellout. No, I like to tell you the facts. Mm-hmm. Okay. He was more concerned about his title than what they paid him.
Oh, God.
So he wanted something on the door on his desk that said, supervising agent or this or, this, just he wanted to feel. So what he ends up, well, so-and-so, the bank, they have account executive.
Oh, God.
Right? They've got an account executive position.
Yes.
Well, basically, you're a clerk. You're going to be a clerk.
Yes.
And you're going to, once you learn to be a clerk, then you move to another area. If you're worried about your title of account executive, you're not going to last to the point where you can actually be a manager, a bank manager or whatever, because you're focused on the wrong thing. And I say that because I was that guy, and I don't know if I've told this story before. I tell a lot of stories. So, okay, when I was in college, my senior year, they came up with a new program at Texas Tech. It was kind of a work study program, but they had a contract with the city of Lubbock. And so I get this notice to apply for this management job, an intern, with the city manager. So I'm all dressed. I get my suit, my shoes, and I go down and meet with them. And I get there and he says, oh, yeah, Eddie, sorry. We've changed our minds. We're going to give this job to a girl, a female. So but we want you to go to the fire station and you're going to meet with the fire chief and they've got a job down there for you. Did I tell you this? Oh, it's really a funny story. So, I'm in this like city hall looking at these offices and everybody, and it's all cool. It's nice. So, well, yeah, okay. So what do? I go down the street to the firehouse and I walk in and where's the chief? He's upstairs. So I'm going up these dirty stairs and I get there and outside the chief's office. And you've been in a garage, like a car, automotive garage. You know how it's grimy, it's got black stuff on it, and it's caked up, dirt and stuff, And so I'm looking at this place. All I could think of was dirt.
It's a pit, huh?
Yeah. So I walk into he calls me, yeah, you Huff, come on in here, boy.
Yeah.
Use the boy word.
Yeah.
Come on in here, boy. And back there, I'm still radicalized, So
he didn't call you Spook, though.
Right? No, he didn't call me Spook. He was just the boy with a small B.
That's so just on campus.
Yeah, come on in here, boy. And then, so I hear that you're looking to take this management trainee job here. And I said, yes, sir. I said, well, he said, let me ask you a question, boy. What did he say? Is you thin-skinned? Is you, not are you? Are you thin-skinned? Is you thin-skinned?
He does Ebonics better than you do.
This was the chief of the fire, the fire chief. Huff, tell me, is you thin-skinned? Sir, I'm sorry, I don't understand what you mean. Well, these are some rough boys here. These are some rough guys. And you being black and all, they're going to give you a hard time.
Mm-hmm.
I said, so is you thin-skinned?
Mm-hmm.
And I said, no, sir, I'm not thin-skinned.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right, then we'll see you next Monday.
Mm-hmm.
I never went back.
Yeah.
I could, I said, I'm not putting up with this, so I was thin-skinned.
Well, it would have been some great stories had you taken the job.
Well, I'm sure it would have. And I've often thought about it. I could possibly be the first black fire chief in the place, after all. If I had faithfully stayed there, learned the trade, moved up the ladder or moved back over to City Hall or something. I don't know. But ultimately, I think God saved me and got me out of Lubbock at that time. And I've experienced all the other things that I have. I'd never gone to Europe, never met my wife. You can never look back. Who knows who? But I definitely would probably, I don't know. See, sometimes I wonder because I met the Lord in El Paso.
Yeah, you did.
And would I have had the same opportunity? Would I be the same person I am today? Mm-hmm. Who knows? I may be in jail for committing white collar crime or white grimy crime, as that firehouse was so dirty.
Yeah.
But anyway, that is the truth. I just never showed up for that work, and God turned it into good anyway. But still, I think sometimes, what if I had gone through it and just put up with the stuff? And they probably would have accepted me. I probably had a lot of friends and done well. But anyway, this is the mentality, though, that the young people of today, particularly minority young people, have, the one I had back then. Instead of saying, man, I see a future. It reminds me of the kid where they ask him, what does he want for Christmas? Mm-hmm. He says he wants a pony. Mm. And so Christmas comes and there's no little pony anymore, and he sees it in the yard, just giant pile of horse manure. Mm-hmm. And so he starts digging through it and he said, what are you doing? He says, with all of this horse poop, there's got to be a pony in here somewhere.
That's right. It's all in the attitude.
Yeah, that's it. Anyway, that's enough of that.
Yeah.
But no, we're dealing with the whole thing of attitude. I mean, basically, Dave, it's all about a positive mental attitude, and the best attitude you can have, and to keep your attitude straight, is to give your life to Christ and have God reshape your thinking. That's the only thing that saved me. That saved my life spiritually and physically, Dave. You got some scores for us?
Man, you ready for Christmas morning here?
Christmas morning.
Okay. What team do you least like in college football?
Alabama. After that, Texas.
Come on.
Oh.
A&M.
Oh, thank you. I wouldn't even. Oh, A&M.
They are losing 27-3 to South Carolina. Wow. And it's 46 seconds till halftime.
Oh. South
Carolina just took over the ball through an 80-yard bomb for a touchdown to go up another 7. So it's 27-3.
Yeah, but
A&M is ranked number 3 in the nation.
Yeah, they're number 3 in the nation. The problem is, can South Carolina hold them off in the second half? It's not over till it's over.
That's true.
And like, for example, we are number 6 now.
Texas Tech.
And we're playing against UCF, University of Central Florida.
Yeah.
And a lot of people can think it's a gimme, but that's how you get beat.
It's a home game, though. That's good.
Yeah. The tough one will be next week. We go to West Virginia, and they're playing better.
But South Carolina's beating them in
A&M College Station.
Yes.
Oh, that is. Yes. See, but that's what happens. That's what happens. Your heads get too big, and they surprise you. Anything else?
That's the big one.
I didn't even expect that one because, you're right. A&M is our arch enemies. Yeah.
I'm just stunned by that.
Yeah.
It's Pitt and Notre Dame. Actually, Notre Dame went up 21-3.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah. Notre Dame's ranked 9, Pitt's 22. I tell you one that's going to be, it's coming up. Well, actually, it's still, it's 7-6. Michigan at Northwestern. I didn't realize this. Northwestern plays their home games in Wrigley Field, home of the Cubs. Or at least that's where this one's going to be.
I didn't realize that either.
Yeah. And so it's
7-6.
7-6.
For Northwestern. It's
in Chicago. And and let's see, Michigan's number 18 in the nation. Let's see, Navy's beating South Florida. South Florida's ranked 24.
Yeah, but they lost last week, and so it's almost like they were doing so well in intro.
Yeah, but Navy's up 24-9 on them at halftime. Cincinnati's got the hands full with Arizona, but it's in Cincinnati. It's 14-10, halftime again. And then, of course, at 2:30, it's going to be OU at Alabama. Remember what happened last year? Alabama was going to the playoffs till OU came to town, knocked them out.
Yeah.
Or was that, it might have been in Norman, because this one's in Alabama. So
You're playing in Alabama today?
Yeah.
I say we as an OU. But,
OU, yeah. OU's playing at Alabama. It's number 11 versus number 4. Alabama's ranked 4th.
Well, if OU beats Alabama, I predict they will probably jump over Texas Tech.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
because it's SEC now.
It's a big win.
That is the benefit of, even though I hated the fact that they joined the SEC, I have to admit it is a benefit because the SEC is so valued by the sports media that anybody that does well in and especially when you beat Alabama, there's pecking orders, right?
Right.
You've got Ohio State and Alabama, then you've got Michigan and Georgia, and then it's everybody else.
Right.
But those are so well beloved. The other one that was in there is Penn State, undeservedly so, I will say. Yeah. I don't think Penn State's ever been that much of a threat, but they've always tried to pump them up. But anyway, the Big Ten and SEC, they get these participation points just for being, and then the Big 12, the ACC, and the former Pac-12 were always kind of also in there, and they would always throw one or two teams up.
Well, there's the Boise State effect, Boise would go undefeated, but you look what quality wins do they have? And for a long time, BYU, when they were independent, they didn't have opportunity to test themselves against the top 10 teams.
Right, but what happened 2 years ago when TCU played, was it Michigan or it was Michigan or, I'm trying to think who they beat. No, they lost to Michigan, but they beat whoever. They beat Texas, I think. TCU did.
Yeah.
I can't remember whoever it was in the playoffs, and they did well. I mean, they surprised. They shot. And Arizona State almost went. I remember last year.
Yeah.
So it's just when you get to the top teams, and what bothers me is the SEC, the bottom half of their roster or teams in the conference are worse than anything the ACC or the Big 12 have, even the Pac-12 had. So, but those top 4 teams are always the ones that everyone's lifting, and they really hardly ever get a chance to play against the Big 12 or the Pac-10 or whatever, So anyway, just a little inside football stuff.
Yeah. So anyway, we're at halftime now on most of these games, but that's incredible.
Who's Ohio State playing?
Actually, South Carolina just scored again. They're up 30-3. They scored a field goal.
Oh my goodness.
They're just,
wow.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, I have to tell you, if you have Netflix, they have this Netflix special on SEC football.
Okay.
And the first episode is the coach, Todd Beamer, the coach of South Carolina, and what's his name at LSU, the former coach who was let go, Chip Kelly.
Yeah.
And you cannot have any more diverse personalities. Todd Beamer, the entire show, when you see him, he's talking about God. He's talking about Jesus. He's got his players praying, the whole deal. Then they go to LSU and show Chip and cussing the whole time, yelling at people, just the nastiest. I'm surprised he let them put that on TV.
Yeah.
And you can't believe the difference in the two. And it's interesting because Chip Kelly is gone.
Yeah.
He's been let go. He had a horrible season. And, he was at Notre Dame, abandoned them, which was a benefit to them, goes to LSU. And I just had a couple of 2 or 3 seasons unsuccessful.
Wasn't he at UCLA?
Way back.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, by the way, A&M, they threw 3 interceptions in the first half. Yeah, that's kind of what did the last 2 scores.
Couldn't happen to a better team.
Yeah. And yeah, A&M missed a field goal. I mean, other than that, they just punt.
See, A&M to Tech was like Texas to OU. Now, you guys didn't really have an equal rival in the state.
No.
Right. Like, for example, OSU, their only real rival that they ever really had in the conference was OU. That was the big game every year.
Mm-hmm.
A&M always looked down on, to them, they didn't have a rival except Texas. Interestingly, though, from the time Leach took over until he quit coaching at Tech, until A&M left in fact, I like to say Texas Tech chased A&M out of the conference because they could never beat. Leach beat them every time. I think in 8 years, he beat A&M every single year.
Mm-hmm.
And so I always like to have fun with that. And of course, Tech people have a true dislike for A&M. And it's because they always said Tech is not their rival. It's Texas, even though they could never beat either one of the teams. And Tech at least knew that Texas, it would be like OSU saying our only rival is Texas.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
And saying about OU, that's our only rival. When Texas doesn't consider them a rival, OU doesn't consider them a rival because their true rival is Texas.
Yeah.
And it's that way. And now in the the SEC, it's a whole different ballgame because now you're going to see new rivalries.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe Tennessee, I don't know, because Josh Heupel's there or whatever, I don't know. But it's kind of interesting.
But I'll tell you, 1996, OU was so bad. John Blake had just taken over.
Oh, yeah, I remember.
And one of the things that our friend Senator Dave Rader loves about me, I dear myself, is I would remind him that I remember when he took TU to Owen Field and beat OU in Owen Field.
Yeah, well, I think I remember what happened because remember he replaced the coach that had come from Miami.
Oh, yeah.
I can't remember.
He was a drunk, is for what the rumors were.
He had all kinds of issues. Mm-hmm. He won a national championship with Miami.
Yeah,
and then somehow maybe they figured out.
So he won before Jimmy Johnson went to Miami.
No, after Jimmy was already gone. Yeah, Jimmy was in the 80s, and then Jimmy went to the Cowboys.
To Cowboys, yeah. Right.
But anyway, so all I remember, he's dead now, that coach, but he had that big thick handlebar mustache.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, that was the time. John Blake. I always think, was he an affirmative action hire or something? He was so bad.
Yeah. Now Howard Schnellenberger is who you're talking about.
Howard Schnellenberger. That's
it. Yep. And he only lasted 1 season.
My only thing I do have to admit, statewide, pecking order wise, I have my pecking orders as follows: Texas Tech, always number 1.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2 is OSU.
Okay.
Sorry, Sooners. Then it's OU.
Mm-hmm.
Then it's USC.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people get upset, like my wife. She gets upset because she never went to OU. She's from Texas, but she is more of an OU fan than some OU fans.
Yes.
In fact, if OU and Tech are playing together in the same, playing each other, I go somewhere else.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
while OU plays, she's up out of her seat, running across the living room, doing, stuff, yelling at the TV. I went to Tech, and I just sit there and, this that, or yay. But no, she'll jump up and start, dancing, and then she'll yell and throw stuff at, I can't. She is a true fanatic. Is what fan stands for, short for fanatic, and my wife is that. So it's kind of funny.
But I tell you, Gary Gibbs, had been the coach. In his final year, he went 5-5-1. And I said, "You're firing a guy because he's just doing 500?" And
is that who Gundy replaced?
No. This was, I'm talking about.
Oh, back in, okay, I'm sorry.
Before Schnellenberger.
You're talking OU, yeah.
At
I'm
OU,
sorry.
there was Gary Gibbs. And I said, "Why do you fire a guy for just doing 500?" And he said, "Because he couldn't beat Texas. Never beat Texas."
And see, we're back in that. We've lost to Texas the last couple of years in a row now.
Did we lose to them last year too? Okay.
Yeah, I think we lost worse last year than we did this year.
Yeah.
So
it was bad this year.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But it was. Yeah.
No, Texas knows how to get up for that game. To me, Texas is that perennial underperformer. We always hear Arch Manning always going to be great. Really, that was 3 years ago.
Well, I'll be honest.
He's finally a starter.
I don't think that Carsegan, whatever you call it, I don't really think he's a top-notch coach. I think that's because with the talent that Texas has, all the players they have in the NFL, and good players, and they have running backs. Miami's Achin, and then I can't think of the new kid. He's got a kind of a mohawk almost at Atlanta. He's Atlanta now. The finest running backs to come out of college in the past couple of years, or until last year, the Raiders picked up. But anyway, but yet they haven't been able to do anything with these guys. Awesome defensive tackles and linebackers and offensive guys. Texas is able to recruit. But
they have the most fertile recruiting grounds. Texas is by far the best. Well, there's Texas, Florida, California, and then it's actually kind of Ohio and Pennsylvania.
Right. Western Pennsylvania, Eastern Ohio. Is that the Ohio Valley, or what is the Ohio Valley? I think.
Yeah, it would be.
Yeah, because it runs right through there.
Yeah, within 100 miles either side of Pittsburgh.
Right.
And but they just never seem to get it together. By the way, where did Genty come from? He's the one that's at the Raiders now.
Yeah, Boise State.
Okay.
Boise State. Yeah, that's what I was talking about, I don't know where he comes from, high school-wise or state-wise.
Yeah.
And the funny one to me all the time, though, is the kid from McLean High School that Alabama stole.
Josh Jacobs.
That nobody in Tulsa had ever heard of. They didn't even know this kid existed here in town. And next thing, I didn't know until Alabama was playing in the playoffs. They're talking about this kid from Tulsa, Oklahoma. What school did he go? I never heard of him. He wasn't at Owasso, wasn't at Union, at Jenks. Surely he couldn't have come from anywhere. And of all the school, he didn't even go to Booker T. He went to McLean High School. McLean.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. That's a God story, really. That is a God story. And his coach took his videos and sent them to who's the Alabama retired?
Saban.
Nick Saban. His dad took his videos and sent them to, no, it was his coach. It was coach, sent them to Nick Saban, and they invited him out there and said, this guy's the real deal. And next thing you know, this guy is like, he was top 10 draft choice by the Raiders, and smart too. I don't know if we talked about this, but because of the California taxes, that signing bonus, which is like $12, $13 million, he deferred it until the next year when they moved to Las Vegas, which has no state tax.
Yeah.
You talk about smart. Now, it may have been an agent's influence or whatever.
Oh, of course.
But still, that was a smart deal. So all he got was that rookie salary, which is less than. I'm being attacked. Attack of the Killer Gnats. But anyway, he was all he took as a salary.
Yep.
Was that rookie salary of $700,000, $750,000
at the time. Yeah. Now it's about $1 million, a little more.
Oh, did they? Is it more now? Okay.
Well, I know Brock Purdy. He got the basic salary for several years. It was $950,000 at that time. So, but yeah, so it's interesting to me. Being an effective college football coach is largely about recruiting. Is knowing how to recruit. Your friend in my Bill Blankenship, he didn't succeed at the recruiting game.
But and see, I don't believe it's about the coach, the recruiting. It's about the support behind the coach.
Oh yeah, you got to have a team.
Right now, I don't know. I went back and watched. They have a video clip of the college game day, and they have all the different weeks, and they had the Texas Tech game day deal. And they talked about the guys from college game day, all the hosts, the panel. They were talking about that, and they had a guy do a special and a walk through Texas Tech's football facilities. And they built a special building, and they said it is the most elaborate and state-of-the-art facility of any college in America. And it talks about they had a giant screen TV where they sit and they watch the plays and go through and do all of that. Each player, it's like an NFL, but even better than an NFL locker room. Yeah. Each player has their own little closet portion, and then they've got the hot tub, the cold tub, the this, the that, the training room, and just relaxation rooms where they can go lay back and kick back. But they, and ESPN guys, I mean, they see a lot of facilities, but they said it's absolutely the finest facility of any college in America.
Yeah.
And you add to that, $65 million or $63 million to give out NIL money to different players. And you see the difference. I mean, that's how they're able to have come. And you're going to see more. And it's sad to me that OSU, Boone Pickens died too soon.
Yes, he did.
Can you imagine if Boone Pickens, with his millions and billions.
And his influence on his friends.
Right.
Because it isn't just Cody Campbell. It's the network that Cody Campbell's got.
Right. His partner, his business partner, another Tech alum, right? Pat Mahomes. You got Pat Mahomes in there, and you got others but still, Boone, he would have been able to really help the program recruit. Yeah. Although Gundy, one of his failings, and one of the reasons I guess he's not there any longer, is he did not want to play the NIL game.
Exactly.
In
fact, to that point, I was talking to a former OSU baseball player who's really follows OSU, and I was doing some work on his house this week, and I said, "What's the solution?" And I said, "Don't you agree? It isn't just replacing Gundy. I think if you're going to reset your NIL philosophy and strategy, you need a new AD." I think it's the AD's fault as much as anybody.
You're right. That's true.
And he agreed.
Well, didn't they let the AD go? I think they got rid of him with Gundy.
Yeah. I think you need to bring in a whole new team, whole new strategy, and then you need to bring in some of your best alumni, people, and just say, help us here with this vision. Because, like, for instance, just local here down at ORU. The Armand Hammer family, Occidental Petroleum. Armand's son, I think his name is
it Army? Armand.
Armand.
But his son, I guess he must be junior. They call him Army.
Yeah.
He's the actor. He was the Lone Ranger.
Okay. They haven't built a new building at ORU until the Hammer family got involved.
I didn't know the Hammer family was.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Wow.
It's the new Student Life Center. They didn't have a Student Life Center. All they had, the basement of Saga. That was about it. And Saga itself, but the Hammer Center, it's named after the Hammer family. Mm-hmm. But one of my longtime customers and a dear friend of mine, he's a banker and a home builder for decades. He said it was the Hammers that got them inspired, and Hammers brought in a whole bunch of, benefactors.
Boosters, yeah.
And they got the vision for investing in kids. And he didn't say invest in the university, invest in the kids. And they started seeing, because that's the real trophy. Mm-hmm. You got to remember, it's the individuals you develop and move on to their highest potential. They are the trophies. And people will inspire. I mean, Pat Mahomes himself is the trophy of Texas Tech. Mm-hmm. One of them. It isn't the gold bling in the cases. It's the individuals you develop to be their best.
Yeah, and they've had some good ones. I mean, there's a whole line of them in last week, because College Game Day was there in Lubbock, and they showed a lot of that. And they've had some good players, but it's always been individuals. This is the first time, I think, in history that it's the team.
Yeah.
They have the one kid, Rodriguez, the linebacker, who, is a shoo-in for at least first-team All-American. They're trying to promote him as a Heisman. He won't win it because he's a defensive lineman. I mean, he's a linebacker instead of a running back or offensive guy. But he is very, unbelievable. He's probably got 8 fumble recoveries.
Wasn't it a couple years ago? I think Michigan had a Heisman finalist that was a middle linebacker or nose guard. Or
I don't know of any Heisman. I know Charles.
There was a finalist.
Finalist. Yeah. I think they've had some, but it always ends up being a quarterback.
It's quite rare.
Yeah, but you did have Charles Woodson. Mm-hmm. Who ended up, but he was a defensive back and receiver. He's just that good, So,
kind of like, Deion Sanders' kind of adopted son. What's his name? Turner or Tucker?
Oh, no. I can't think of it.
Travis Hunter.
Yeah,
that's what Hunter. Yeah, because he played both ways.
Yeah.
But anyway.
What else you got?
I think that's pretty much it. My big thing today that's been bothering me is just this nitpicking on the right with each other.
Yeah,
Newsmax is really bothering me because they keep beating the horse. Right now, it's Richard Roberts, I think is the guy's name.
I was thinking of Richard Roberts.
I'm sorry, Kevin Roberts.
Oh, okay.
They're trying to get Kevin Roberts. Follow this line. Sure. Get him fired from being president of the Heritage Foundation.
Oh, yeah.
Because he didn't condemn Tucker harshly enough for Tucker not condemning Nick Fuentes harshly enough. It's, 2 degrees of removal that you just, can't have that. And to me, it smacks of money and clicks. Eddie, you and I are seeing what's happening to our beloved GOP here in Tulsa and Oklahoma because of clicks. Mm-hmm. And it just irritates us.
Yeah, no, it does. And you're right about that. Here's the deal. I don't agree necessarily with Nick or Tucker, and I'm online all the time fighting with people who don't believe the scripture, the covenant God made with Abraham, and then he repeated later on periodically through the scripture. Mm-hmm. David made the covenant again. And I'm upset with the fact that these Christians who should know better, to me, are so easily swayed. But I'm not ready to throw Tucker under the bus or the guys at Heritage or wherever, mm-hmm. either on either side, because that's what makes America free. And we are becoming, I used to say when I was with Pat Campbell, there's some people who are so far right that they're left now. Mm-hmm. They've come all the way around.
I heard Pat adopting that line, I think, from you.
Yeah. Well, it's true. They're so far right, they're left that we take on the same personality and reactions that it's our way or the highway. It's got to be our way or nothing else. And that's just so against the whole principles of the freedom of America. Yeah. Democratic thought, not democracy, but democratic thought. In other words, everybody's allowed to have their own opinion and thought. And then, what is it? Come, let us reason together.
Right. But the answer...
we don't agree on a lot of things.
The answer should always be more free speech.
Right.
Not canceling out the other guy because I haven't come up with a strong enough argument. Right.
There's a thing of free speech and free action. Okay. And until I turn my speech into action or my speech becomes dangerous to someone else. It's so funny. All of a sudden I'm flashing back to the 5th grade learning about where things have to stop. It stops at the other person's body and property. My freedom stops at your property and body.
Right.
So I can't, because I'm free. I can't be free to just smack you upside the head, even though I want to several times. I'm just, or I can't just say something to say David is a dirty this, that, or the other, just because I disagree with him.
Right. Yeah. But you see this mentality just run amok in Europe, particularly in England, where you can't do things that might offend somebody who we're not sure is going to act up and, or be civilized.
Canada.
Yeah, they're becoming that same thing. It was in a London Fleet Street paper in 1830 that these words were first published. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me.
Really? I thought it was on my playground back in 1965.
I pulled up a Wikipedia. It says that phrase, the earliest publication of it we find is in 1830.
That's interesting. That's it.
In a publication in London.
There you go, people.
But you just like London, it's your own papers were saying this, and you don't think it applies, it'll offend people.
Well, see, that's a danger. Some we haven't gotten into. I was ready to wrap up. Now you got me going again.
But it's speech is violence is the whole mantra.
Well, but yeah. And with that, though, we've also allowed too much free speech to infect our society and public. And what I'm speaking of is Islam. Towns like Dearborn, Michigan, what they're trying to do in Plano, Texas, and different places, Minneapolis. You've had Muslims come in and form their own ghettos in their own community, and slowly they're outsmarting us. Again, it gets back to the thing of doing the jobs that Americans don't want to do. They're just smarter at it. And so what have they done? They've been able to infiltrate the public offices in London. I mean, England doesn't even have that many cities, but 11 of them have Islamic mayors, the leaders of the city and their city councils and so forth. And we have that going on now in Dearborn, Michigan, in Minneapolis, that whole area, in other places. And we can't let this happen. In the Southwest, you've got it with Mexican or Hispanic leadership and so forth. And everywhere, when it becomes contrary to the United States of America and it becomes more about our culture, a different culture, it's got to stop. Okay. We've got to come against it.
Even if they lock down the borders of England to where no more, foreigners are allowed in, still in 20 years, it'll be far worse than it is now. You know why? It's called birth rate.
Right.
Okay. The Roman Catholics knew a little bit about how to prevail in the long game. Make more babies. And Eddie, you've seen it all your time in Europe as a missionary, and that the birth rate went down and down and down.
They thought we were nuts because we had 4 kids in Germany.
Yeah.
How dare they? How can they have so many children?
Yeah.
Yeah, they see children as a liability. And here's what's funny. But let's put it this way. The culture thought children were a liability and didn't want them. But the government wanted more because they realized you're committing suicide when you decrease your population below a certain point, because it takes so many workers to keep your programs in your country afloat, to paying taxes and so forth and so on. So they would pay. They had a thing called Kindergeld, or child money. And so when every time you had a baby, for 1 year, they would pay you about, the equivalent back then was $600 a month, just for having that child. And then you actually got other money for however many you had.
Yeah.
So they were trying, because the Germans just quit wanting to have babies. The young couples, they interfere with.
Well, they weren't even marrying.
Right. Well, that's true. But even the ones that are marrying or not, they wanted to go to Italy, France, all these places on holiday. Go to America. We want to go to Miami, and we don't want to be tied down.
It's about them.
It's me. Exactly. And so that then has kind of come to America a little bit. And in Germany, if you had more than 2 kids, you were a freak. But they were down below the sustainable rate. I think they were at 1.8. And you're supposed to have 2.4, 2.6 children to keep our society going. That's per family. 2.6.
It was a good children. 30 years ago, I watched a documentary on the life of Golda Meir. And a lot of their research for this came from Hubert Humphrey and his people when he was vice president under the Johnson administration, was when the 6-Day War happened and stuff. And I was drawing my attention to it because I got to meet Hubert a few times. First time, like pinched my cheek off. I was 5 years old, but he explained to Golda Meir, he says, I think at that time there was a little over 1 million Jewish people. And they were in a land that even in the borders of Israel, you had more Palestinians and other Arabs, Jordanians, and that living in the Israeli land. Is that your security is tied to your birth rate.
Right.
And see, he explained this to Golda Meir because she didn't get it. He says, you have to put together policies that are going to encourage a higher birth rate amongst people of your tribe and your ethnicity. It says you have got to force these couples, or entice them, is the word it is, to get married. Give them whatever. And to show Golda Meir with a young couple saying, okay, we'll give you new appliances and we'll give you this and you'll have an automobile if you get married.
Right.
And it was a very pragmatic thing. But the Catholics have lived for millennia based on this idea. You will survive the long game. Yeah,
we have 2 things that we should work on, and both of them are going to be difficult. One is convincing our young people to have more children and stay married. Stay married. Don't mess around. Just find someone that you're going to build a family with. Stay married and have 3 or 4 children. Okay. And then the second thing is we've got to cut off immigration, cut it back. And one way to do it is what Trump's already doing: weed out unlawful immigrants. Okay. Those that are, if you want to call it undocumented, I don't care what you call them, illegal, undocumented, whatever, they're not supposed to be here. Okay. We've got to start making the laws. And the laws need to be for Americans. And in any area, back to Dearborn, Michigan, I don't know if you saw the thing with the police force. Their cars are in Arabic. They've got Arabic on there, like it's a Tulsa police. It has whatever, the Arabic writing. The police, they're on their patches, they're wearing Arabic stuff. This is America. This is not. Why did you leave that country to turn, or as Donald Trump would say, why did you leave that hellhole to turn the new place into a hellhole? I mean, it's silly. And what's really silly is that you've got Americans that are welcoming it and encouraging it, say, oh, yes, we need to honor them and their culture and their tradition. No, we don't. No, we don't. The melting pot of America has become a smelting pot, and we've got to return to the melting pot.
You know who's really is the architect of this mass immigration from the Middle East is really Obama. He started through his State Department. The CIA started Arab Spring. It was civil unrest, civil war, revolution in all these nations.
And then opened the door.
And that became the impetus for the refugees to leave the war-torn areas. And then, Europe and North America, well, we have to, those poor kids, they're nations at war, they're in danger. And played on our bleeding heart sensitivities.
Yeah, that's what's so funny. If you really had compassion and you would worry about the children of Guatemala, Nicaragua, Africa, whichever country you pick a nation. If you really cared about them, what you would do is make sure that the governments there get straightened out, not that you bring them here.
Right. Bringing
people here is not going to help that country. All you're going to do is help some dictator get rich on less money. Foreign aid isn't doing it either. Unless it's tied strictly to, we want to see improvement. We want this. We got groups, inspectors to come in, and we're going to see what the civil situation is in that nation.
Yeah.
But the way we're doing it, we're just basically make it like what's in Maduro. What did he do? He emptied his prisons and sent them all here to America. And that's what Trump is trying to do, send them back.
Yep.
You cannot. Again, I hate using the word of the left. It's not sustainable. It's not. Well, right. One more rundown with scores, and then we'll get out of here.
Indiana's having no problem with Wisconsin. Wisconsin isn't ranked, and it's at Indiana. They are the real deal this year.
Oh, yeah, I believe that. I believe that.
South Carolina, A&M did score in the third quarter. They're pretty early in third quarter, so it's 30-10. A&M is losing at home. They're ranked number 3. South Carolina isn't even ranked.
No.
They've had some solid wins, though. Let's see. Notre Dame is crushing Pitt. It's all 28-3. Michigan is still neck and neck at Northwestern in Wrigley Field, 7-6. Navy is jumping up on South Florida, 24-16. They're halfway through the third. Let's see. Cincinnati's losing now to Arizona at home in Cincinnati, 20-14. And then, of course, getting ready for the 2:30 kickoff, OU at Alabama. That's a big deal.
I better get home, and you better get home so we can watch that.
Yep. I actually got to go hang Christmas lights. So I'm working 6 days a week nowadays.
You'll have a little radio.
Oh, of course.
There we go. Yeah. I'm going to go watch.
The Varsity app is fantastic. Folks, if you want to listen to a game free, you don't want to do ESPN, you can at least listen using the Varsity app. Most colleges are part of that.
Okay.
And so it's a fantastic deal.
All right.
All right, folks.
All right. Hey, thank you, everyone. And we'll see you, Lord willing, and the creek don't dry next week.